History is full of mismatched military battles. Think of Rome versus Carthage, or the Allies versus the Axis. But in 1932, the Australian military faced an adversary so ruthless, so tactical, and so legally unable to fly that it left the nation completely humiliated. I'm talking about the Great Emu War. And spoiler alert, the birds won. To understand how we got here, we have to travel back to Western Australia in the early 1930s. The Great Depression was hitting hard. The Australian government had given land to World War I veterans to farm wheat, but things went sideways when 20,000 fresh recruits showed up. Except they weren't human, they were emus. See, emus migrate after breeding season, and they realized that these newly cleared, heavily watered veteran farms were basically an all-you-can-eat luxury buffet. They didn't just eat the wheat, they smashed the fences, letting rabbits in to clean up the rest. The angry farmer veterans went straight to the Minister of Defence, Sir George Pearce. They requested machine guns, knowing exactly what modern firepower could do. Pearce readily agreed. He figured it would be great target practice, good PR to show they were helping farmers, and a quick victory. Oh, how wrong he was. The military campaign was placed under the command of Major Gwynne Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery. His elite squad consisted of 2 soldiers, 2 heavy machine guns, and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. On November 2nd, 1932, the army marched into battle. They spotted about 50 emus in the distance. The strategy? Easy. Line up the machine guns and take them down. But the emus had other plans. The second the guns opened fire, the birds split up into tiny groups and sprinted in every single direction at up to 30 miles per hour. It turns out firing a stationary heavy machine gun at a highly disorganized flock of feathered drag racers is incredibly difficult. Only a few birds fell. 2 days later, Major Meredith set up the ultimate ambush near a local dam. Over 1,000 emus were marching right toward them. The soldiers held their breath, waited until they were at point-blank range, and pulled the trigger. The gun jammed after killing just 12 birds. The other 988 emus basically laughed and scattered. By day 4, army observers noted that the emus had literally adopted military tactics. Each pack had developed a designated lookout bird, a massive, 6-foot-tall black-plumed commander that would watch for the soldiers and warn the rest of the flock to retreat. Desperate, Major Meredith literally mounted a machine gun to the back of a moving truck to chase them down. But the terrain was so incredibly bumpy that the gunner couldn't aim a single shot, and one emu actually managed to get tangled in the steering wheel, causing the truck to crash into a fence. After less than a week, the army withdrew. They had fired roughly 2,500 rounds of ammunition, and depending on who you ask, they only managed to kill somewhere between 50 and a few hundred birds. Major Meredith's official report noted that his men had suffered exactly 0 casualties, quote, except for their dignity. He later remarked, with immense respect, "If we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world. They can face machine guns with the invulnerability of tanks." The Australian government tried a second attempt a few weeks later and confirmed about 986 kills, but it barely made a dent in the 20,000-strong avian army. The media had a field day, and in Parliament, politicians mockingly asked if the soldiers would be awarded medals for the Emu War. Ultimately, the government gave up on using the military. Instead, they put a bounty. Ibertine said, "They put a bounty on the birds and built massive exclusion fences, which worked significantly better than sending 2 guys with a couple of World War I machine guns. So, let this be a lesson to all future civilizations. When you go to war with nature, nature usually plays dirty." Thanks for watching. If you think you could out-strategize an emu, let me know in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.